streaming live on Facebook and YouTube this day. And I'm very happy to be here. And now I'm totally blanked out about your name, but that's okay. I'm going to have an amazing talk with a warrior woman, if I may say so myself, who battled burnout, came back from it, and is now helping other women. So please tell us your name and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Emma Fahey and I live in Australia. It's very early here in the morning, just like it's very late there. So please just mind both of our evening and morning brains. But yes, as I can't pronounce your name, as B said, I have suffered from burnout and I have very slowly, piece by piece, brought myself back because I did not only suffer burnout, but straight after I was burnout, I got pregnant and was bedridden, and then I had sleep deprivation with my baby after my bad pregnancy. So it was one thing on top of the other, and I've just slowly built myself back up to start helping other women as well.
That sounds absolutely amazing. Please help me. What's sleep deprivation?
So my baby was waking up 6 to 8 times a night.
Oh,
So
I feel you.
wasn't
My
getting
baby did
sleep.
the same thing.
Yeah.
That's heavy.
Yeah, she did it from about 3 months old to 12 months. She started sleeping through some nights.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're still here.
Yeah.
That's amazing because I know what that did to me, but I just let us know what that did to you because then basically you didn't sleep from three. So that's for 9 months straight. You didn't sleep any night.
No, not really.
That does a
I
lot to
thought
a
I was
person.
fine. Yeah. It's I don't know if it's just me, but it's similar to burnout where when you're in it, you're fine or you think you're fine because that's just how you operate and it happens so slowly.
Yeah.
So when I look back now, I'm just like, oh, I don't even know how I was functioning. And my house was definitely a mess, though. I knew that was going on,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just one of those things. That's how you just start to live. So you don't realize how bad it was until you start getting sleep. And it's the same with
Yeah.
burnout. You don't realize you're burnt out until you start feeling a bit better. Then you go, oh, hang on, yeah, I was actually burnt out. I just thought that I was exhausted. And
Just
yeah,
exhausted all the time.
yeah.
So when did you discover that you were burned out? Like what happened?
Like a few years like a few years afterwards, I reckon. It was when I was recovering already that I realized that I was burnt out. So the job I was in, I was working 10-hour days, and so was everyone else. Like it was at a school, and it was just absolutely crazy. The work volume was huge. The students weren't very well behaved. So there was a lot of pressure with behaviour management that stops you from doing the work you were meant to do. And everyone was exhausted, and like my assistant principal that I was working under, she ended up in hospital, and all the comments was, oh, she ends up in hospital every year, she does this to
Oh
herself this
wow.
time every year. Just everyone were walking around like absolute zombies, and nobody was using the burnout word or anything. There were teachers like away on stress leave, and um, one of the leadership said, I think they need a cup of cement, like as in they need to harden up a bit. So it was just a really bad culture in terms of looking after well-being and making
Absolutely.
sure that the staff weren't. But yeah, I reckon almost everyone was suffering burnout definitely at the end of that year, but no one was talking about it. So that wasn't a term that I was used to.
And
Yeah,
Was
that's why
it
it took so
because it
long.
was like kind of taboo within the school or within the whole community, or because you're like all the way on the other side of the world, so I don't know how it's there, but I like here it's more and more accepted. Like people acknowledge it sooner, but like employers still don't like the B word, for example. So how is it over there?
I think it just depends. So I think it's the same as with you. It's getting more, it's used more and more at the moment. And in teaching, you've always heard of the word burnout and that teachers can burn themselves out. It was just never used where I was. And the schools that I was at beforehand were a lot easier. They still had like really bad behavior management, but there wasn't the huge workload that this school had. So yeah, it was just not not something that was like really on the radar that I hadn't experienced like a crazy workload like that before.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just might be just because there was no experience like that.
Okay,
Does that
and
make
then
sense?
you were there and then you stopped working, or how did you discover, like how did you start to recover? How did that process go from burnout, not realizing you're in a burnout,
Well,
to
I
rising again and then realizing you were in a burnout? How did it go?
well, it's a bit complicated. So I got pregnant the last 2 weeks of school term, and I suffer from hyperemesis. I can't remember the last name of it. Hyperemesis starting with G. And so I finished school, and 2 days after, I started getting morning sick. So hyperemesis is that really extreme morning sickness. So I started getting sick like 2 days after school. So I didn't really have much of a gap. And I was home for Christmas. So I live in Darwin, and it's a 4.5 hour flight. No, 6 hours in total in 2 flights to get home for Christmas. So I finished work, flew home, started getting really sick, and then I couldn't leave. I was too sick to fly back up to Darwin, and I didn't end up coming home until March of the next year
Oh
after
wow.
Christmas. So that would have been. So I went home for Christmas 2017, and I could fly home in March 2018. So, and I was very much bedridden. Like I felt sick scrolling on my phone. Like, you know how they say, like, you're really tired in that first semester when you're pregnant? I would just like fall asleep like 4 times a day, like
Yes,
just
I
not even
recognize that a
knowing.
lot.
And I was only in hospital once with this pregnancy. I was in hospital twice with the other one, but this pregnancy, it was just so bad. So, like, I didn't, like, looking back, I don't know if it was because of the pregnancy or because I was burnt out at the start of the pregnancy, which is what made it so bad. But it was, yeah, it was so terrible.
Yeah.
So I had that work, not knowing I was burnt out, then straight into being pregnant and bedridden, and then still not being quite well, and then having the baby. And then I was also, because I was bedridden, I had like no muscle tone. I was really weak. I sort of had to physically build myself up as
Like
well.
literally build
And then,
yourself.
yeah, at the 3 months, yeah, and then at the 3 months, she just like wouldn't sleep. So then
Oh
I had no sleep
wow.
either. But I almost like not tried, but I was doing things after I had the baby that weren't helping me recover from burnout and that pregnancy, because it's like, right, yeah, eat healthy. And so I don't mind cooking. So I was trying to cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and that was exhausting me. Like, I'd have to start cooking at 3 o'clock in the afternoon to have dinner on the table 2 hours later. So it was taking me like 2 hours to cook dinner and getting it ready. So I did realize that early on that I was like cooking too much, which was exhausting me, and then the cleaning up and all of that sort of stuff. And because she had reflux as well, so I always had to have her on me. She was a very clingy baby. So I did realize that I had to stop cooking, so I started going back to like batch cooking and having leftovers after dinner and having them instead for lunch, and simple things for breakfast instead of like cooking eggs and all this fancy stuff that was delicious,
Good
but it was
choice.
just,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
delicious, but it takes up some time, and we need that for ourselves as well. So, good
yeah,
choice.
and the energy, and yeah, and like right at the beginning, trying to rebuild my body. If I push myself just even a little bit too hard, like I found it hard walking 800 meters. So if I pushed myself too hard, then I would be exhausted. It was like at that point where you're down so low, even though they say exercise is good for you, it gives you energy, it was doing the opposite.
Yeah.
So too much exercise was actually putting me back again. So yeah, it was very, very slowly rebuild
And so
because
life
yeah,
did throw you some curveballs, like not all at once, but one after the other. Like, so that's, you need to be a strong woman to uh, go through that and recover from it. So I like totally salute you from mother to mother to for doing that, because I know like a lot
thank
of
you.
the women that follow me are in a same place as where you have been, like burned out or depressed, or um, having such low energy, lack of sleep because of children and everything. And I recognize a lot of your story because I've been through similar stuff. So,
Yeah,
and this was in 2018, you, you said?
yeah. So most of the sickness in the pregnancy, and then the start of the sleep deprivation was in 2018, and then the sleep deprivation continued through in 2019, and it wasn't until like the new year we went to Perth to visit my sister, and then for some reason on this trip my baby started sleeping through some nights, and it was the first time. So yeah, into like 2020, the first time
And do
she
you
started
recognize
sleeping through.
when they then finally start to sleep? Like, I don't know if you had that, but I had that uh, very much in the first few weeks, probably even, well, he's 13 months now, so mine is sleeping for 4 months now, finally. But I remember very well in the first 2 months that I still had that anxiety, like during the night, that I would wake up and I would lie awake and I was like, why am I awake? And because my body was so used to getting up so many times a night that it
Yeah,
kept doing that. Like, did you go through that as well? Because you had it for a longer period of
yeah,
time.
I always would like wake up, not so much anxiety, but I wake up and be like, she hasn't woken up yet, and just check that she's breathing, and then I'd be okay.
Very nice.
But I'm like,
That's good.
something's wrong because she's not awake. Like, and then I'd be right.
Yeah, that's something you have to get used to after waking up so many times for so long.
Yeah,
That's something amazing. So now, well, a little over, well, close to 2 years later, you're
yeah.
doing very well.
Thank you.
So what changes did you
Anyway,
make to build yourself up again? Like, how did you start? Because you've been going through a lot, so you have to
we'll
take
just
baby steps.
we'll just slow changes. So physically, I started like going to the gym and just doing exercises like yoga, a little bit of like Pilates and bar. And I was going every day, and that was really, really good physically. But then it was taking up a lot of time though, and my house was still like a mess
I
because
was
it'd be
just
like,
going to ask, like, how did you manage to do that every day? It's good though.
So I was feeling really good and I was physically feeling and looking really good. But it was taking up like 2 hours in the day. Like by the time you like, you get all the baby stuff ready to go to the gym and driving to the gym, getting into the gym, putting them in creche, then actually doing the class, which is only an hour, and then doing all the reverse. It was like 2 hours every day, essentially, to go to the gym. And then COVID happened, so I stopped.
So everything
And I was
closed.
like, yeah. And it was just so much like, even though I felt so good and looked so good going to the gym, I just felt so much more at ease and relaxed not going to the gym because I had those extra 2 hours back
Yeah.
and I could make sure the house was a lot tidier than it was. Still not perfect, but I could get a hold of all of those jobs and I just felt like so much better in myself. But previous to that, I would have been starting to get up early. So, like as I said, like my baby, she was so clingy, she had reflux, she just wanted to be on me all of the time. And then I had, so my boy was 3 when she was born. So then I had, 3, 4-year-old as well. And I just couldn't drink a cup of tea. As you may know, I do love my cup of teas, as I've been mentioning,
With milk.
with milk. A little bit more filling, then you can just have that for breakfast.
That's a quick That's a breakfast.
Yeah, pre-breakfast.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't have like my cup of tea. I couldn't just sit there and relax and have a full cup of tea without it getting knocked or bumped or having her on me, like trying to not drip it on her. So I started getting up at about 5 o'clock. Like, trying to do about an hour before she would usually wake up anyway. And she was waking up at about 6. So getting up at 5, making my cup of tea and just watching TV. And it was just so nice to be able to have a cup of tea in the peace and quiet without anything else.
Yeah,
So that
absolutely.
that helped. Excuse me.
No problem.
That helped. But then one morning, I noticed out the window that the sky was just this absolutely beautiful, vibrant pink. And it was just amazing the way the clouds were and the colours. I went outside and just watched the sunrise because it was just so beautiful. And it was just such a nice experience compared to sitting inside and watching the TV. Like it was so much more calming, so much more energy because you're watching this beautiful thing happen that
Yeah.
I wasn't really watching before. I couldn't see before. We couldn't see sunsets either. So it was just literally, we were just like living in this box and it was either dark or light. We're missing out on this beautiful, like relaxing, calming time of the day. So after that, I just started going out and watching the sunrise. Not every day in the beginning because I, still had that terrible sleeping child. But when I felt good enough, I would go out. And yeah, it's just, I find it really hard to explain, but just going out and watching the sunrise and having that time where it's quiet all around you. So we're in suburbia. So there's like no cars, or very few cars. You can hear the birds. It's
Like pure nature.
cooler. Yeah, and it's cooler, which like living in Darwin right now at 5 o'clock in the morning, it's 27 degrees.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Here it's
so
already sweater kind of weather. Like fall is starting here. It's like oh.
yeah, so I have the air conditioner on this morning because 27 degrees is still a bit too sweaty
Yeah,
inside.
absolutely.
So yeah, it
But I
just
can't imagine that like just sitting there with your cup of tea, only peace, because like Mother Nature is a very it has been a very strong part of my healing journey as well. Like Mother Nature is amazing, and then being able to just sit there and enjoy something so beautiful as a sunrise. I'm not able to see a sunrise not until it's already risen above the houses. it's here in the village. So it's
Yeah.
I really have to travel for that kind of stuff. But I can only, and like you've sent me some pictures of sunrises and sunsets, because of course we have like, or my morning, your evening kind of contact, or the other way around, like it is right now. So
Yeah.
it's like totally amazing. Like a few weeks ago, I talked to someone in Hawaii who is the other way, like you're there and she's there. It's amazing. So
Yeah.
I can totally relate to the peacefulness and how much strength it can give you to just sit there and start your day in that kind of way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing, but it's really hard to describe it properly. Hang on, I think I have an early morning visitor. What's up, mate?
I need a shower.
Okay, can you go have a shower in the other one and then get your dad? Okay,
But no, I need to sleep.
that's okay. Go get dad. I'm just
This
talking
is
to
the
a lady this
beautiful
morning,
life
okay?
as
I've told
I'll
moms.
shut
So
the door.
we just
It
take a
Mom, I'll
is.
little
shut
bit of
the
time. That's
door.
okay.
No, it's all right, mate, because it's just a bit noisy through the wall where I'm sitting. And I told Dad he's on morning duty this morning, okay? So he knows you'll wake him up. Thank you, mate. It's
Daddy
very
is on
early for him
morning
to be
duty. I
waking up.
like that. We need to do that here as well. I'm always on morning duty.
Well, he's only on morning duty because of this. Otherwise, I'm always on morning duty and mostly night duty as well. So
That's kind of the
yeah, because
mom
he
life,
usually,
though.
yeah, yeah, and he usually leaves to work at 6 in the morning. So it's the weekend, so that's why I'm like, oh, well, you can do it this morning.
Oh, yes, of course. For
Otherwise,
you, it's already Saturday.
yeah, yeah, Saturday morning.
Oh, Jesus. I like this is my evening brain. Like it's almost gone. Like it's almost muted.
No, well, mine dies at about 8 o'clock. I usually go to sleep at like 8:30.
Yeah. I mostly go between 10 and 11. And then it's like that's the latest. If I go later, I'm screwed the next day. So-
Yeah.
But you had this amazing journey and then you turned it into, and now I have to do this on the top of my head, the Sunrise Collection. Do I say that right?
Yes.
So
Yep,
tell
the
me a little
Sunrise
bit more
Collection.
about Sunrise Collection.
So as I was like sitting out watching these beautiful sunrises, I started like taking photos because sometimes they're just so beautiful. You're just like, oh my God, I need to take a photo of that. And my husband at the time was starting work, like being at work starting at 6 o'clock. So he was leaving at like 5 because that's how long it takes him to get ready and go to work is about an hour. So I was sending him pictures of the sunrise because I'm just like, I also need to share them. So I was like sending it to him as like a morning because he also would, even though he was up early, so he got to work still in the dark and then he'd be like in his little cave is what he
Yeah.
called it, just sitting there on his computer until about 8 o'clock in the morning. So even though he was up and awake for the
He must love
sunrise,
his job.
he's got a different job now.
Oh,
Like
good.
he's got a different role now. He still is in the same job technically, but he's a policeman, so
Okay.
he's still a policeman. He's just in a different section of the police. Yeah, it gets confusing.
It's
Anyway,
okay.
so and and I was like, so many people would miss the sunrise, and it's just so beautiful. And very few people would ever see it for whatever reasons, whether they're even still up, they wouldn't see it, they'd be sleeping in. So I just really wanted to share the sunrise, to try to share that moment with people that like beautiful and that calm and peace and a break. And it's evolved into like the burnout thing because I was like, it would have just been so nice when I was working to have something where I could have like a 10-second break because I just could not get a break when I was at work, and we were trying to do IVF, and I had to hide in my car one day to have enough time to make a 10-minute phone call. It probably wasn't even that long to try to organise IVF, and I even got in trouble for that. But like, so I just had no time to do anything at work because someone was always there. Like, I'd pick up the phone and there'd be a kid standing there with another problem, so I'd have to hang up, or a teacher, because I was like in a leadership position, so I sort of was looking after 8 teachers. So, or a teacher would need me for something, so I just like had no time. So I was like, oh, like I would have just loved to have a nice picture or something to just reflect on for a few seconds during the day
Yeah.
to just give my brain a break. And then it came like evolved to, well, why did I need my brain to have a break? Well, it's to stop me being stressed. Why do I need to stop being stressed? Oh, well, to stop burnout. Oh yeah, I was really burnt out. That's sort of how it evolved.
I like that. Oh
Yeah. So hey, actually,
yeah.
that's
It's
what
like a
was happening to
aha.
me. Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
that's
amazing. So
how
now it's turned
it
into a
evolved.
business to help women or other people. Like, is it just women or is it women and men?
Not just women, because I know men suffer burnout as well. I guess more women can relate to me because I'm a woman as well, and with the, pregnancy and sleep deprivation sort of thing. But
Motherhood.
yeah, yeah. So more like busy people, and women see themselves more as busy than men do. So
Yeah.
part of it, like, you're really busy, which is the start of burnout, really. Like, you don't start things being burnout, you usually start them really excited and energized, which I was for this job, and you probably put
Yeah.
more of
You
yourself
go
in it
all
to
in.
start with because you are so enthusiastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and then
then
it
as a
creeps
woman
up
with
on you.
kids, yeah, definitely. And then as a woman with kids, when you're doing that at work, you obviously then you have kids and you have to do all the kids stuff, which otherwise that husbands don't seem to do as much. There are
Yeah,
some great ones out there. Mm.
exactly. And well, I don't know about you, but I think this is a nice question to ask you as well because now you are starting your own business. Are you still in the teacher's job?
Um, I'm not in a teacher's job at the moment, but we do have a few. Well, we're moving different back home to another state at the end of the year, and I was just looking for teacher jobs just to see what type of jobs are down around the area, because I have been living in the Northern Territory for 14 years and I've never taught in New South Wales. So I was just trying to see what was around and was probably just going to do some relief teaching if we needed the money. And my dream job just happened to be there. Just one of those weird things where
No
the absolutely
coincidence.
most perfect job, yeah, was there. So I've applied for that and we'll see how that goes. It's not full time,
I'm keeping
which
my
is, yeah,
fingers crossed for you.
thank you.
So, okay.
So,
So now you are just with your business, with your kids, taking care of those. So still a few balls to juggle there.
yeah,
How now I lost my question. Because I really think I really believe that as moms we allow um basically we allow our husbands still to do less, and I still believe that that's because we're programmed this way out of the stone age basically, but we can choose to do it differently, and yet most of us
yeah,
don't, because just like you and just like me, I'm always on morning duty. You're always on morning duty. You're also always on evening duty. We do that 50-50. Like my husband does one baby and I do the other one. Like we split that up. So I
Yep.
very much like that. And then also a few times a week we switch because putting the baby to bed is 15 minutes and putting my little girl of 6 years old to bed is like, when you're lucky, half an hour.
Yep.
And when
Yep.
you're not
That's
so
like
lucky, it's over an
that's like
hour.
my
So
son. Yep.
what would you, because when you go back and you will get that dream job, which you absolutely deserve, then
Thank you.
what would you do then with your, uh, well, your newfound knowledge, like you've built yourself up again? So how are you going to prevent yourself from falling back into burnout?
Well, I would definitely give more responsibility to my husband and be like, well, this is what I did when I was at home. I'm still, he's still pretty good. He cleans the kitchen a lot more now, um, but that's probably because of the role that he's in. So when I was working in that really horrible job, he was on shift work. So there wasn't an awful lot of times where he was at home to be able to help with dinner or put the kid, we only had one at the time, put my son to bed because he was either at work or he was sleeping for work. So he's
Yeah.
on much better times now. But I was actually thinking about this the other day, like, so I do all the budgets and I we have like a couple of rental properties and I do all this stuff for the rental properties and just like the shopping list and stuff and the shopping that he doesn't do now. I'm like, okay, I need to give that to him or else
I'm so glad my
when
husband
I have,
does all the shopping. Like,
oh,
I
that's so
so hate
good.
that.
He will go if he will cook at least once a week. He does like barbecuing. So he will go to the shop and buy everything he needs for barbecuing, but he doesn't necessarily do a household shop. Like he
Yeah.
can do it, he's perfectly capable. He just doesn't, and so but he'll still need to learn of what he needs for a household shop and how to do it more effectively. Or he can do it
Well,
his way, whatever.
like maybe I can check with my husband because we made an app. Well, not we. He made an app, and that's our grocery app.
That's
So
cool.
it's very like everything we use is in there, and it's just check it
Yeah,
on and check it off, and then for the next time, just see what's out there, just check.
yeah. Oh, that's
So,
cool.
yeah,
Might have to
I can check it
find
out
that.
if he can make one that's shareable.
Yeah. No, that'll be cool. He'd like that, my husband. So yeah, I have been thinking of that already. Of and then there's like the getting time because it'll be a role reversal essentially, and both of us getting used to that because at the same time I still want to be mummy and still want to do that sort of stuff. At the same time as he's learning all of the other things, so it'll be an interesting time. We'll see how it goes.
I
Yeah.
feel that we have to have an other interview in a couple of months to see how it's all
Yes.
going. That would be nice. So
Yes. That'll be good. Well, we're deciding when to move. Me and the kids might move at the end of this month, and then my husband will come in December.
so
So
you all will be together for Christmas, right?
pending COVID. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like we put the
Hopefully.
law of attraction into work and you will get that dream job and you will be together for Christmas. Like that's
Oh,
just what
thank
we
you.
order right now.
Yep. I hope so.
So if because your story is very relatable to a lot of women out there, I'm sure of that. So if women would like to work with you, how do they get in touch with you? Like what do you um, recommend? That's the word that I'm looking for.
The best place to hear from me regularly is signing up to my newsletter. So I send out an email once a week that has unwind your mind tips. So just like really quick things you can do anywhere, anytime if you're feeling a bit anxious or you just need that brain break. So for example, one would be choose a colour and then try to find as many things that are that colour where you are right now.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Those
So
are
I have like
simple
different
and effective.
variations of that. Yeah. So I have different variations of that, like that goes out once a week, just that you can easily do wherever no one will really know what you're doing, but you're just having like a little holiday in your head without it being obvious.
And we
Because I
need
know,
those.
like, yeah, and sometimes you just can't. So the problem I was finding, and I know others as well, is when you look, so what can I do to de-stress and what can I do for that? And it's like, oh, go and do yoga, go for a walk, and they're all of these really big, time-consuming things. And even if you had the time, when you have little kids, it's like such a big effort.
Yeah,
You can't do it. And
absolutely.
then like you'd have the opposite problem, but like for me, where it's so hot, like you'd have the opposite problem in winter where it's so cold, you just can't go out for a walk
Yeah.
when it's a good time because like it's too hot or it's too cold and you can't do that. So I was just, or like meditation and all of that sort of stuff, like I can't find enough time to do that. I definitely couldn't when my daughter wasn't sleeping.
Well, then I have
So
some
that's
tips
why,
for you on meditation as well, because it can only take 5 minutes. It's very easy.
I'll see. But I think the reason I go back is when I was sleep deprived, though, I sort of also didn't have that, because I was so sleep deprived, I couldn't have that focus properly as well.
Yeah.
I could do it now, but back then I was like, nope,
No.
it's not in my bandwidth. I can't focus at all.
No.
So that's what they're for.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. I wish I had
And then,
those like 6 months ago. That would have been like taking my mind off things for sure.
yeah, just when you could even be like holding your baby though and doing it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So they're in the weekly newsletter, and then I just do a video as well on something about either stress or burnout or like how to do some time saving things or organize yourself to help you free up time. I can't think of an example right off the top of my head at the moment, but more
For
helpful videos
example,
if
that
you need that.
how did you say it? Batch cooking?
Batch cooking, yep. So
That would be an
some people
example,
do,
right?
yeah. So the way I do it is I like do double meals like every second night, like double quantities, and freeze that, and then like and then 2 days a week we have a frozen meal that we get out of the freezer. So that's 2 days a week that I don't have to cook because it's already done. But I know some people prefer to cook all of their meals all in one day, and they'll spend 4 to 6 hours prepping meals, sometimes lunches for the whole week, where
That's
I prefer to
crazy
just
stuff to
do it.
me.
Yeah, so I don't like cooking for that longer periods of time, but they
No,
wouldn't have to do any food prep for the rest of the week. But so I do it throughout the week
that's true
and
though,
break it
but
up.
still 6 hours in one day of cooking, like God.
Yeah, yeah. So that's
Okay,
what they like.
so
Yeah.
where do people can sign up for your newsletter?
Yeah. The best thing to do is check out our website, which is thesunrisecollection.com, and you have a look around, and then when you go to exit, a pop-up will come up. I think there's some other buttons where you can sign up there somewhere, but yeah, a pop-up will go, join our newsletter,
Awesome. So
and it would be great to have you with us.
thesunrisecollection.com.
Yeah.
And
And
those
then we're on
videos,
Facebook and Instagram. Pardon?
those videos that you do, that's on Facebook and Instagram?
I don't always post them to Facebook and Instagram. So the newsletter is where you don't miss anything. So that's where
Okay.
I always do the videos for the newsletter. So to be on top of everything we do, the best place is the newsletter.
Awesome.
And then,
So
yeah,
we're going to wrap this up because believe it or not, we're already way past 30 minutes. Like it's 40 minutes. And I feel like we're only halfway. So, but we'll definitely going to meet again after Christmas. So
yeah,
let's plan something for January or February somewhere. That would
that
be
sounds
amazing
fantastic.
because I would love to know how you're doing in your dream job and everything and how the role switching worked out. Like that's just like awesome stuff. I like
Yeah,
that. So thank you so much for this interview. And well, we definitely speak soon. And please share another sunrise. Like I love them. I absolutely love them. So I will definitely follow you on Instagram and Facebook. And for now, if you want to work with Emer, I said it right, yeah? Emer? Yeah. If you want to work with Emer, go to her website, thesunrisecollection.com, and sign up for the newsletter to not miss a thing. Emer, thank you so much. If you liked
thank you.
this interview, then please push the like button because like buttons give more reach. And when you really, really like it, like I give these interviews or I take these interviews every single week, and just subscribe to my channel and follow me to get more tips like these. Emer, you gave so much value. Thank you because you shared a lot. You were very open, and it's very nice because that helps other moms so much. So thank you so
Yes,
much.
thank you.
And I wish you an amazing day. Have a great weekend, and we speak soon.
You too. Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye. So now. That was it. Oh,